Some huge breaking news regarding one of the most informed players in the Premier League this season, who has been linked with a move to Tottenham Hotspur and a host of other Premier League clubs. Ooh, this has got me really excited. I'm hopeful that Tottenham could close the gap on the rest of the teams in the Premier League if they get a deal done for this player. It would be absolutely monumental. Honestly, it'd be absolutely insane. But before we go any further and I explain this breaking news, if you haven't already guessed it from the thumbnail, if you are new to the Sonny Spurs YouTube channel and you're discovering me right here, right now, then get down below, leave your like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, also hype the video if you could do me the honour. And also, let me know in the comments down below, is this the player who could close the gap between Tottenham and the rest of the big six and other top teams in the Premier League? So David Ornstein has just tweeted this breaking news saying Bournemouth may be powerless to prevent Antoine Semenyo sale in January. Contract includes £65 million release clause available to all clubs but must be triggered by a set date. So AFC Bournemouth get time to replace. Applies again in the summer at a lower price. Now this is absolutely huge. Antoine Semenyo has had a fantastic season so far. I should know. He's in my draft Talksport team and he's got me a lot of points. He's just an absolutely insane player. And in a season where Bournemouth have sold Dean Hilson to Real Madrid, Zabrani to PSG and Kirkes to Liverpool, they've had a really good season, haven't they, so far up to this point? I know they lost to Aston Villa last time out, but Semenyo has been a shining light in that attack. And I think he is the final piece possibly to this Tottenham jigsaw puzzle. I actually did a video, which I'll link at the end of this and I'll link above my head at some point as well, with Zach Jalab, where we spoke about how Thomas Frank can build his perfect Spurs side going into next summer, because, you know, we're going to judge him after a season. And Semenyo was one of the players we spoke about in that left wing spot. I think he'd be absolutely fantastic. Obviously, he can play all across that front line, right and left wing. And I think when we look at the left wings that Spurs currently have, none of them are as good as Antoine Semenyo. He's been absolutely fantastic for Bournemouth in the last few seasons. He's the perfect age as well. He's at his absolute peak of his powers, just good at getting goals, assists, creative-wise. I just think he would be a really, really good asset. And the only issue is that a lot of other clubs will be wanting to look into the signature of this player. You think Arsenal would probably like another left winger. You've got to look at Manchester City's. Liverpool have been linked with him as well. But I'd like to think that Tottenham could maybe, you know, get amongst these clubs and really make themselves known, because it's going to be an absolutely big, you know, summer for these clubs to really close the gap, and January as well. But I think Tottenham might have more of a stake in this, because Antoine Semenyo is more guaranteed game time potentially at Tottenham. He's a guaranteed starter, whereas at Liverpool, is he going to fit in a front line with Isak and Ekitike? Arsenal, I know that they've just signed Eze, but where do they all fit in? I can't see it. And Manchester City, could he fit in there? Possibly, but, you know, Erling Haaland is the one who gets all their goals. They'd have to shift someone, wouldn't they? Sevinho, who we were previously linked with. I think Antoine Semenyo is just an absolutely class player. I'm hoping, I mean, little fun fact, obviously he's Ghanaian, and Ghana didn't make AFCON, but they've made the World Cup for next year. Who else is Ghanaian in the Premier League who also is at the peak of his powers? Mohamed Kudus. And I think Mohamed Kudus hopefully could be in the ear of Antoine Semenyo and be like, yeah, come to Tottenham. It's actually a really good club to be part of. I just think he screams a Thomas Frank signing. He would be, you know, the perfect player for Thomas Frank to get his teeth into and really develop into a world-class elite attacker. Because I look at that left-hand side at Spurs and think, it's just not clicking at the moment. It's just not clicking whatsoever. I think we could also do with a striker. I actually, before, as I was about to, you know, go live on this video, I was actually recording tomorrow's video where I do a really good deep dive into a potential striker who could really be amazing for Spurs. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Subscribe and hit the notification bell to see that one when it comes live. But we're talking about Antoine Semenyo. I just think, you know, when you look at the Premier League so far this season, there's been quite a few standout players. I think Erling Haaland, obviously, is head and shoulders above the rest. But when you think who follows next, it has been Antoine Semenyo. I just think he has just gone to another level. And you look at Bournemouth over the last couple of years, you know, we obviously signed Dominic Solanke from them, who was, you know, hitting 19 goals in the Premier League. But what Antoine Semenyo is doing from that wing, it's just been astounding. It is just not hard to look beyond how good he's been. And in that position, it's not easy either. We put winners in such a, higher echelon now because, they all should be like Mohamed Salah. Maybe not this season, Mohamed Salah, but they should all be, contributing like 20 goals, 20 assists. But Antoine Semenyo is well on his way to really, be a top winger. And what worries me is I feel like we're talking about Premier League clubs here because, we act like the Premier League is the best league in the world. Personally, I think it is. But what's stopping a PSG from going and getting him, or a Real Madrid or a Barcelona? I think he is that good. And if you can pick him up for that price, I mean, let me read the Ornstein tweet again. It says £65 million release clause. You could probably get it lower. And you've got to think of how many wingers last summer, Alanga, Kudus, Madueke, they all went for big fees. This guy at this fee would be an absolute steal. And Bournemouth know what they're doing. They're putting, a very clever release clause there to, get the most amount of money. They're such a good selling club. Them and Brian and Brentford really know how to rinse teams of their money. And they always find someone better. That clause there, they have to have someone in situ to basically then go, right, you can leave. And that's basically what they did in the summer. They brought in Truffert to replace Kirkes. They brought in Diakite to replace Dean Helson. So, they're a really good little run club down on the South Coast. I have to applaud them. And I hate these sort of transfers when they drop because you do get really excited that this could be the one. This could be the one to maybe, push Spurs over the edge and get them firing on all cylinders. Because I think, when we look at the Tottenham squad at the moment, there are a few players, that need replacing. And I think, for example, what an upgrade Antoine Semenyo is on Brennan Johnson. I think Brennan Johnson's been all right. He's brought us loads of memories last year. But it's an Antoine Semenyo who puts you in the upper echelons of the Premier League, who keeps you, in the top four spaces, who really sets you to the next level. I think Iriola has done a really good job with, a lot of these Bournemouth players. Even Evan Nilsson's come in and been really, really good. I wouldn't mind him maybe leading the line for Spurs, due to Dominic Solanke's injury record. But yeah, I would love Antoine Semenyo at Spurs, but there's going to be a lot of competition. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think we could sign Antoine Semenyo, or is he destined for another Premier League club? But until next time, hope you've enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, heart the video as well. Until next time, guys, have a good one. Bye.